Holito, Shaki Manuhaki. Great peace. In this video, I want to talk about how the proclamation signed by Rahm Emanuel, acting in the capacity as a mayor and a secretary for Obama's administration and for Obama's council, he held office. Um, how this I want to talk about how this proclamation is a constitution, because like when you think of proclamation, you think of preamble. Those are synonyms. Those are the same word for different languages and different tribes. Um, After he left office, who came in there? It was Lori Lightfoot, right? Lori Lightfoot, she's from Ohio. So that goes the Bull Harrison Association. You look at who came in after her, Brandon Johnson. Well, he's a Johnson. All right. So you can think of Gary, Indiana, with the Jacksons and stuff like that. So he has an association right there. Let's read this. Whereas the Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, Himitites, and the Canaanites who were permitted by the old pharaohs of Kemet to traverse from East Africa and later form themselves kingdoms extending from the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa, the Atlantic islands onto the present-day continental Americas. Okay, you can see right there, they transcended, meaning they didn't come, their head didn't come out of the soil. They transcended, meaning they came out of another galaxy, and they caretake the earth. And we just happen to be in this time right now where everything's about climate change and climate action and climate danger. Um, Oprah has talked about climate change. Barack Obama has talked about climate change. Uh, Bill Gates. Um, who else? Al Gore. Everybody's talked about climate change. And so who is the perfect people to talk about climate change? The people who traverse the earth. The old pharaohs, their descendants, us. So this is why I say like there's no more who spook who sat by the door. There's no more I don't know this to be true. I don't know that to be true. There's no more having xenophobia towards dark skinned people about who they are and whether they're from America or whether they're from Africa. Because I know a lot of people they don't say what they think, but I know a lot of people be thinking like um, they're not me or I am not them. It says right here that the Moorish Americans have formed a sovereign theocratic government on the territories of North, Central, and South America. All right, so we can go anywhere in the Americas and be home. All right, so look, man, like people they see Noble Drew Ali, but they don't see that it says Moorish American Week right after he dates and signs his name. So it gives a paragraph for whereas and it gives a paragraph for now and therefore. Okay, so if it says whereas, that means that it happened and that is true. It doesn't mean that whereas means now and therefore. It just means whereas has always been. So if I have a theocratic government, what am I afraid of? All right, so like when people need help with stuff, like if I want to borrow bills and credits, and because it's already in circulation, and I'm not a witness, and I am a witness in a future trial, I can borrow bills and credit. I can sign my name on stuff and get credit for it, because I'm acting as a witness in the future. I stated that. So we need to be very clear about, what self-determination means. We need to be careful about what universal means. We need to be careful about what love means and what freedom means. Because a lot of people, they don't operate on justice and they don't operate on truth. Because like if you don't operate on those two principles, you have no peace. I can tell you that right now. You don't have no peace. But like people need to be very careful, man. Like how they go about it. Like me personally, I have a birth certificate from Cook County, and I also have a nationality card that has the Moorish flag on there. I thought about creating an Indian card, but I was like, why do I have to do that? I already have one through the organization that was with Hemark Shelip, because Hemark Shelip, his former organization has they have a charter in Detroit. So like when people sign on to stuff and they pay for it, you create a charter. So they have a charter in Detroit, and They have an office here, and it's right by a lot of green land. Like West Detroit, when you go down to like the area where the national parks are, they have an office right there. So like I don't use them to like for help in like charters. I do my own charters. Like if I need help with something in court, I always refer to Exhibit Mayor Rahm Emanuel, Moorish American Week, or um, this right here, this proclamation. I always refer to this because like they can't tell me who I am and they can't tell me who I'm not, and I know that for a fact because like I always say like a judge is not going to be belligerent. Like a judge doesn't practice law from the bench. They're going to administer the law by looking at it and reviewing it to see if it fits what the scope of the plaintiff is saying. I'm never a defender in the case because I don't breach uh, any statutes or codes. And if I were to, I would have good evidence to stand on. I will always have an appeal. But I wouldn't do that because, like, why would I do that when I'm operating in peace? So, um, look at this charter. It's a constitution, and see like how it fits. Because this is on a government website. This is Illinois. If it's on a government website, that means it's recognized. They recognize this flag right here. They recognize this seal right here. They recognize this symbol right here, and they recognize this empire right here, Morocco. And they have Noble Drew Ali. They have Noble Drew Ali name on a government website, and they're not disparaging it. They are not deceiving you of who he is and what it means. They're telling you right now. This is a document right now that you can use as an exhibit. So enough of the shenanigans. Moors have arrived. We have a government now. And we have to use it appropriately, and we have to form theocratic governments on the soil of North America. And I was just talking about this in the last video. Like, we need to form a government where there's peace. We can't be warned when people who say we can't have this or we can't have that. Like, I was just looking at this video, the Whole Chunk Nation. They don't know about Noble Drew Ali, right? Okay, so if they don't know about Noble Drew Ali, they don't know about his ancestors. And they don't know about his ancestors, they can't know about the governments they had, and that means they're not from here. Like, how do you know all this information about creation histories and you don't know a person's two ancestors? Forget that their two ancestors have 16 ancestors. You don't know just that one person, and he did all this. No, you're not from here because you don't know the information. You don't know everything. So like you're just telling me a bunch of lies to get me to realize that, okay, maybe I am indigenous. And you're speaking in English at that. So we know English is a language that's like dealing with angles and brooks. So if you look at someone who can architect putting a pipe in the ground like a Haitian can, we don't need to talk about the history here. Because we know, like Americans, we know who built this nation. We have all the closed accounts for it. Our names are on the counties. Our names are on the commissioner boards. All right? We talking about raw material. We're not talking about putting a twig on the ground with an RV. So account for that, like know what it means, man. Like Chicago has a oral tradition, and it needs to be respected, man. Cause like Noble Drew Ali, he came from New Jersey. Like, why did he come from New Jersey to come to Chicago just to say we were Moors? All right, why would he do that? Like, he could have just stayed in New Jersey, but he came to Chicago because his family was already here. So let's be clear about this, man. We don't want Native Americans speaking on our history, and we don't want them adapting our customs because, like, this is going to further make the oral tradition poor. And I know, like a lot of road Moors, they like to be like, yeah, this light skinned person, this white person, this mixed person, they're Moor. And you know, in reality, they have their own oral tradition. Like, we shouldn't make people Moors, and they're not Moors. In the old books, it tells you what a Moor is. It gives you depictions of what a Moor is, especially in the Americas. Someone who has a gold rope around their neck with a basket of grapes. who's carrying a child with a bead around their waist. That's a Moor who has no clothes on. We know about the emblems of the old times, the vintage dials and stuff. That is a Moor. It's not someone who just said they're from they used to be a Native American tribe, now they're a Moor. It's not that. So we need to read these Mexican treaties, and we need to know who these people really are. All right, because we can't be a scholar if we don't know world history, especially stuff that affects us directly, because they're not going to speak on it. So I'm going to close out, and you all have a good one. Great peace. Yakoki.